What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a Star Wars comic market update. And I also got a subscriber giveaway. I've got a pretty fat stack of comics here, and I'm going to go over them in a little bit later on because it pertains to a couple of picks that I have. For those of you who are into comic speculation or want to try and pick up some, fun speculative picks for comics as it pertains to the book of Boba Fett that comes out later this year in December. So I've got a stack of comics I'm going to give away as part of this video, and I'm going to go over a little bit later on because it kind of spoils the end of the video. So just stay tuned for that. But I wanted to go through a few recent eBay sales. Some of these are speculative, some of them are vintage, and I think in general, the graded CGC Star Wars comic market has slowed quite a bit, and in general the comic market has slowed across the board, not just Star Wars books. But I think the lack of new content right now for Star Wars, we've had like Star Wars Visions and a few other kind of like smaller shows that are actually very well done. If you haven't checked out Star Wars Visions, I've only watched the first 1 or 2 episodes, but the first one especially is very, very good. But they're more like standalone short stories. They're not within the canon, so to speak. So we're still waiting on the Book of Boba Fett coming out. Obviously, The Mandalorian Season 3. We've got, Ahsoka. There's a number of different programs that are coming out next year. But the lack of new content right now, I think, has definitely hit the comic market, the graded Star Wars comic market. It's prices are lower than they've been in quite a while, even the pre-peak numbers that we saw kind of in May, June, July is kind of considered the peak for the comic market, and it's been kind of down since then. But some of the prices for really nice books for Star Wars are down even before our pre numbers for that. Like, I'm talking like January, February of last year in terms of price points. So I think that, if you're into Star Wars comics, if you're into graded comics or key books or whatever, now's a pretty good time to be getting in. I've picked up a few really nice examples recently, both on eBay and on Comic Link and a few other spots, and I've got them for great prices. I mean, well below where some of the peak prices were. And so I wanted to just point out a few. I don't own all of these, but I do own a few of them, so I do track some of them. But I wanted to point out a few that I've been watching and I think are pretty cool pickups. This is Star Wars number 40. And this is kind of the first mention of Rogue Squadron within comics, at least within the U.S. comics. There might have been an earlier. I haven't double checked that against keycollectorcomics.com, but I'm pretty sure this is the very first mention of Rogue One within comic books. And we all know that Rogue One they're coming out with a Rogue One movie, and it's going to be focused on that. So I'd be very curious to see how this book does as the kind of production starts to leak out and we start getting trailers, maybe next year sometime. But I think this is a really good pickup. This one sold for $350 plus shipping. That's a number I'd consider for that book. That's a really nice, it's an awesome cover too, obviously. I mean, you got the AT-AT Walker, you got Luke in the down snow speeder, Battleground Hoth. I mean, it's a really epic cover anyway. And a fairly early, book. It's, October of 1980. But to get that one for $350, I think, again, I haven't checked it versus, prices, the peaks for this book versus lows and all that. But me personally, I think that's a pretty good pickup, and I think I'd consider it at that price. So that's one to look out for. Here's one that's already in my collection. This one was only 9.6, which I was really surprised by the price on it. It was a 9.6 grade, but it sold for $521 on free shipping. That's actually more than what I paid for the exact same book, 3 months ago, max, 2 months ago. And I had that in a 9.8. So I have a 9.8 versus a 9.6, and this price actually went up versus what I paid for it. So really surprising final sales price there. I think that's, no offense if you happen to be watching this and paid that, but I think that's probably an overpay. I think you could probably get it for cheaper than that. I'm really surprised it sold that high. But for the newsstand version of Star Wars 43, which again is the first Lando and second Boba Fett, you're probably talking for the newsstand version, probably in the $750 to $800 range minimum. But for the direct edition, which is right here, you can see it's got the Spider-Man logo in the lower left versus the UPC code. I think, I think I paid, I'm going on memory, but I think I paid 501 for my CGC 9.8 grade. So, and that was, I'd say maybe 6 weeks ago at max. So, maybe that's going up because of the Book of Boba Fett coming out, and we know that this is his second appearance comic, and his first appearance comic has just gotten so expensive, so that might be part of it. But that to me seems like an overpay. I think you can probably pay that for a 9.8 if you're patient. So, just a few others that I've been watching. I'm not necessarily thinking about buying them, or this is not necessarily speculative, but I think they're pretty good in general, good key Star Wars books to consider just for your collection. I'm not saying they go up or down. I don't know. But this is the Dark Horse adaptation. This is the third issue of The Phantom Menace, so the movie adaptation by Dark Horse. Now, there's two variations for this cover, and the reason this is an important book is because this is the first full appearance of Darth Maul, as well as I think the first appearance of Mace Windu. That's what it's labeled as. I didn't double check that, but really this is a Darth Maul play because with Darth Maul making a reappearance in Solo, a Star Wars story, is there potential that maybe he shows up again, in some live action content? There's always that possibility. Who knows? But even beyond that, I just think this was a great deal. $228.50 for a 9.8 grade. Now, this is the less expensive of the two cover variations. This is kind of the photo, movie, actual Ray Park. This is not like a artwork. So this one tends to be a little bit less expensive. It's just the movie cover. The one that goes usually, and this one sold for $289.9, so it gives you a couple price points there for the less expensive cover variation. But you can see that one sold for $228.50 versus $290. So I just wait for an auction there, and you might get a pretty good deal on it. But the other one, the other cover that I like better, but it's also a lot more expensive, is this one. This is the same book from May of 1999 by Dark Horse, but this has got the artwork style cover instead of the movie cover. So really awesome, epic cover, and kind of a brooding Darth Maul there. And this is not like some secret book or anything. Everyone knows about this book, but it looks like this one sold for $440. You might even creep into the high threes if you're patient for this book. But this is one that I'd consider just, I think it's a pretty good value considering that it's the first full appearance of Darth Maul. I mean, he's a pretty iconic character within the Star Wars universe, and to be able to get it for that cheap, relative to some of the other first appearance comics out there, I think that's a pretty good deal. Another one that, again, not exactly speculative, but this is the first appearance of General Grievous within comics, and it was a free comic book day Clone Wars Adventures book. And the reason I like this one is because, we're starting to see Hasbro bring out some of these animated style Clone Wars card backs, and wouldn't it be cool to kind of have this book to be part of that? So just to have it as part of the collection. Maybe they release a General Grievous style figure on that Clone Wars card back. I don't know. It's probably unlikely, but it would be really cool. But anyway, this is the first comic book appearance of General Grievous in comics. This dates back to 2004. Again, another Dark Horse comic, but Star Wars Clone Wars Adventures. It's not a numbered issue. It's a free comic book day. But anyway, that one sold for $300. That's actually significantly down versus where this one has sold recently. So I would look out for that one. And again, similar to Darth Maul's first appearance, these books may not go anywhere in terms of price, but if you're a key Star Wars comic collector, then I think that now is a pretty good time to be picking these up because they're relatively a lot less expensive than they used to be. They'll say they're down 25 or even more percent versus their peaks. So another one that has creeped up a lot in price, and this is maybe one that I'm not sure if it's ever going to come back down again, and this is one that I have in my collection. This is Darth Vader #6 from 2017, and this is the first full comic book appearance of the Grand Inquisitor. And there has been a lot of noise that he's going to be making a live action appearance any day now, or not any day, but any year now, pretty soon on Disney Plus. And I was beating the table on this one because I really thought that this was a good pickup at the time. I think I paid $160 for mine, and this one was listed at $310. Let's call it. Best offer accepted. I don't know what the final sales price was, but I bet it's probably in that $275-ish range. So if the Grand Inquisitor is one you like, or if he's a character that you're really into, like I am, and it's an epic cover. I mean, that cover is just really awesome. I'm not sure if it's ever going to come back down. I mean, maybe it does. I don't know. But I fully expect him to have a big role in Disney Plus content moving forward. So that price point of, let's call it 250 to 275 is about the going rate now. Another one that I really like, and this is more of a speculative play, but the price point is still really attractive, and that's Star Wars Rogue One, #1. This is the movie adaptation of Rogue One. But, we have the new Disney Plus show coming out called Andor, Cassian Andor. And this book obviously is the first appearance of Cassian Andor, K2SO, all the big players, Jyn Erso, and Saw Gerrera. All of those first appearances happened in this book. And there is a much more rare cover variation for this retail incentive variant. But in terms of just the standard cover, this one sold for $211 plus shipping. That was 3 days ago. That's a great price. I mean, I'd pay that all day long. Not only is the cover just really nice, and it's a great movie, obviously, but it's just a fantastic cover. And I think that there's a really strong potential there that, given that this is the first appearance of a number of characters that actually show up also on the cover, that if the new Andor show is very good, then you can expect this book to double in value pretty quick. So this is one that's on my short list. I'd love to pick that one up before the show comes out. One that's been really dropping is Kanan #1. We've talked about this at length. I'm not going to bore you to death with it, but obviously that this has got the newer style label on it that CGC's come out with, saying it's just the first appearance of Kanan Jarrus. They've kind of dropped the label for saying it's the first appearance of the Rebels team. But so this one had the updated label, and this is the much more rare second printing of Kanan #1. This is one I'd like to pick up because it's a really nice cover, and the print run is so small on this. Now, 6 months ago, this was a $650 book. And now it's sold for $300, best offer accepted. So under $300 for that. Whoever bought that, you got a great deal. I'm jealous because I would have paid that in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, I would have paid that price. Just to have the first appearance of Kanan Jarrus. I mean, that's an awesome deal. So, the first book, or the first printing of this book is kind of $250 to $265 now, which is about what I paid. But to get the second print for about the same price, I would take the second print. If you're looking for either one of them, I would get the second print first because it's a much smaller print run and much more difficult to get in a 9.8 grade because of the black background on the front of the cover. So, Kanan #6. This one is kind of held steady for the most part. It's creeped back down a little bit just because of the lack of new information, like I talked about at the beginning of the video. But this one sold for $630. This is the first full appearance of the Rebels team, Star Wars Rebels team. That's come back down. I mean, this one hit $850 even like a month ago. So to get that at $630, I thought that was a great pickup. That's still a little bit above where I paid for my copy on Comic Link, but that's a pretty good price and probably about market right now. If $600 to $650 is probably about going market right now for Kanan #6, and a price that I would, if you're looking for the first appearance comic, it's an epic cover, and that price point is about as low as it gets right now. You might get into the high fives, but I haven't seen anything sell that low in a long time, if ever this year. Here's another one that just sold. This one sold at $700. This has kind of been more in line with recent sales, but this one was a buy it now situation, whereas the other one was an auction. So again, if you're looking for this one, these do come up at auction pretty regularly. I'd say a few a month on eBay. So I would just keep an eye out. You might be able to get it for a lot cheaper than $700 right now. Another one that I own and I talk about at length. If you're into Dr. Aphra at all, I would definitely buy this book right now if you're looking for a 9.8 grade, because it has not been any cheaper than this since over a year now. It's been about a year since it's been this low. This is the first printing of Dr. Aphra, which is Darth Vader #3, the first printing of her first appearance, and as well as her droids, 000 and BT1. So it's an awesome cover. But this thing got up really high. I think I paid around $400 for mine. This one sold at $340 at auction, which was a fantastic deal. I'm just full disclosure, I'm thinking about buying another first printing of this book because it's so cheap right now. I mean, I truly believe this book is going to be double this price when and if she actually makes it to Disney Plus. So now is the time to buy this book if you're into Dr. Aphra. And I probably will get another example of this book just because it's gotten so cheap now. All right, now it's time to get into some speculative plays here. So I wanted to show you this one. This one is the High Republic #7. And this is the Mayhew variant, Mike Mayhew variant cover A. So, you know, he always does 3 different kind of covers for these style books. This has the first comic appearance and the first cover appearance of Darth Krall. I bought this one, the trade variant, and then I also bought the Virgin variant. There's also a Shadow variant where it's like a lot darker. This is one I'd consider picking up, and I did. I mean, in all full disclosure, I picked up two. I picked up the trade and the Virgin because I think that Darth Krall has a lot of potential to be a big villain if they do anything with the High Republic, you know, in terms of live action or cartoon content. He makes a wonderful villain, and this cover is pretty epic. You know, he's done these for a lot of different characters within the High Republic, but this is his best work, and I've held off buying any of them. And I talked about like the Marchand Rowe version, but I finally decided that I had to get this one because it is his first appearance within the comics as well as his first cover. So that's what I'd consider. Another one I'd consider looking at is this one. This is Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures, but this is called The Monster of Temple Peak. It's going to be a short, I think 3 or 4 comic run. This is by IDW, not Marvel, and this one just came out in August. And this is the first appearance of Ty York, who is a monster hunter. She's kind of a, you know, gray area in terms of ethics, very similar to Dr. Aphra. But she takes place, obviously, within the High Republic universe, not later on like Dr. Aphra does. I think she's got a lot of potential. She has a pretty big role within the books, the novels by Canvin Scott and Charles Soule. And I think that she's got a lot of potential. So I bought a bunch of these raw, and I sent them into CGC. I think I got like 3 or 4 of them. But this is a good value right now. You can only get it for $50. I mean, it's only $50. So if you're into you know, graded comics and you want a first appearance comic, this is a really good one to pick up. I think I might grab one anyway because it's such a dark cover, and I have no idea whether any of mine will be high grade or not when I send them to CGC. But it's a really nice cover, and Ty York is a really interesting character, so I would consider picking this one up while it's still cheap. Okay, another one that I bought a bunch of raw. I haven't bought a 9.8 yet, but this is a War of the Bounty Hunters tie-in book called Bausch, based on Bausch, the Bounty Hunter. Now, this is not Bausch as in Leia Organa dressed up as Bausch. This is the actual bounty hunter named Bausch. And, you know, we never really saw her in the movies, right? But she's got a whole team of bounty hunters that she works with. I think there's a really strong chance that this bounty hunter makes an appearance in the Book of Boba Fett, because to our knowledge, you know, Bausch as a bounty hunter is not dead. It was just her outfit was stolen by Leia. So I think that they could easily rewrite her, or, you know, add her character into the Book of Boba Fett as a side character. And it's still cheap right now. It just came out, and you can get a graded 9.8 copy for $50 plus shipping. And like I said, there's a couple. I bought, I think, 8 between 4 different covers, all raw. But I'm getting those pressed right now, and I'm going to send those to CGC. But here's the other cover. I actually think I like this cover better because it's just kind of an epic look, and it's got, you know, Bausch with her thermal detonator in her hand, which we all know and love. But anyway, this is the first full comic appearance of Bausch. She appeared briefly in a cameo in an older comic, a Star Wars Adventures comic. But in terms of her first full appearance, this is the book. So I would probably get this now while it's cheap, because if she does make an appearance in the Book of Boba Fett, this is going to skyrocket in value, is my guess. Okay, one other one I wanted to point out is this one. This is Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters, and this is Jabba the Hutt #1. And I've got one of those right here as part of a big giveaway that I'm doing right now. We've got Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters, Jabba the Hutt #1. We've got Star Wars Shattered Empire, which is the first mention of Operation Cinder. I've talked about that one. I've got a mini comic that's fresh out of the pack. This came packed in with my IDW STCC exclusives I bought, so we're going to pass that along. I've got a blank Lando #1, and it's like a blank cover, you know, for sketches. And then I got a couple of non-Star Wars books. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books here that I'm going to do a giveaway for. And this is the first one. One of them is this one. This is War of the Bounty Hunters, Jabba the Hutt #1. Again, this is a small offshoot of the War of the Bounty Hunters tie-in. And this is the first appearance of a bounty hunter named Diva Lompop. She's kind of a punk rock looking character, and I think that the chances of her showing up in the Book of Boba Fett are pretty high. So I bought a bunch of those raw. But if you don't care about graded and you just want a copy of it, I've got a copy of it right here for you. So to enter the giveaway, just be the same as usual. Just be a subscriber, like this video, and comment below, and then I'll pick a winner next week. And I'll send all 6 of those books off to the winner. But if you're into graded comics, now's a good time to pick this one up. This one sold for $36 at auction. I should have bought it because, I mean, that's less than case cost. If you know, that's less than it costs to get it graded, plus the cost of the book, even factoring in shipping. But anyway, it's a new bounty hunter. So the issue is that she's not shown on this cover, and the other cover actually has her on it. So this is Diva Lompop, the bounty hunter that makes her appearance. And this one is the Bernard Chang cover. There's also a retail incentive variant that I've got coming. That one is like a 1 in 15 or 1 in 25 ratio variant. But this is the other cover. I'd probably get this cover if it were me, because since it is her first appearance comic and she's on the cover. I mean, that to me is probably a better buy. But anyway, I don't have any more of those because all the copies I have are at being pressed right now. But I do have this one, the alternate cover, which is still not a bad cover. It's got Boba Fett and Jabba the Hutt on it. But I think if I'm going to be buying a graded example, I'd buy this one. This is the better of the 2 covers, or the retail incentive variant. So that one sold for $50, and it was a CGC signature series signed by the cover artist. And again, one I just didn't see at the time. I probably would have bid on it. So anyway, that's all I really had. Again, if you want to be entered to win, just make sure to like the video, be a subscriber, and comment below. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.